This is Season 3, Episode 26 of In Touch with Terri, a podcast for aesthetic professionals. Today's episode is titled, Welcome to APX, the Aesthetic Game Changer.
I am so excited to finally announce something that, again, Terri Ross Consulting has been working on for the past several months, APX. What the hell is APX? It stands for Aesthetic Practice Accelerator. It is a revolutionary platform that will change not only your practice, honestly, your life. So APX is comprised of 5 core elements, which are train, abacus, lucid, gauge, and finally a community, which are all focused on solution-based training programs, business management, and KPI analytics that will ultimately and have proven to impact your bottom line. Hi, tribe. Welcome to In Touch with Terri, our power-packed podcast for the medical aesthetic industry that brings you so many things: expertise, authenticity, more important, solutions that have proven to increase profitability, attract, convert, and retain more patients. And we feature some of the top industry experts as guests. Hi, I'm Terri Ross, former Fortune 500 executive, international speaker, and founder and CEO of Terri Ross Consulting. And soon I'm going to introduce something super exciting. So happy New Year. I'm so glad you're with me right now. 2020 is freaking behind us in our rearview mirror. Thank God, right? But despite the challenges that we have all faced, it's kind of a cliche, but I'm going to say it, that some of the best things have hopefully come out of this past year for you guys. And with that great pause, I hope it has forced upon you, as it has forced upon me, to do some self-introspection, to really evaluate yourself, your family, your kids, your business, every opportunity that could have come your way that may not otherwise have been available to you. So we are turning a new page with 2021. Thank God the vaccine's here. I think we have so much to look forward to. And this is going to be a promising year. We have to have faith, right? That's all we can have is faith that this year is going to be a new year filled with hope and possibility and so many great potential things. Again, not only for you personally, but professionally. So I am going to ask a couple things of you. Stay with me, be here, be present. And this is going to be the most exciting episode ever, okay, that I think is going to be a game changer, not only for you personally, but for your business and how you think about your business. Because we have been working tirelessly as a company to bring this episode to you. So with that said, I wish I had a freaking drum roll. I am so excited to finally announce something that, again, Terri Ross Consulting has been working on for the past several months. Frankly, it feels like 5 years, you guys. But I want to introduce to you APX. What the hell is APX? It stands for Aesthetic Practice Accelerator. It is, to us, a revolutionary platform that I am certain, I am confident, will change not only your practice, honestly, your life, and the way that you look at your business forever. We've had so many people beta test the site. The feedback has been astronomical, and I can't wait to get into it with you. So, I asked you to stay with me because I'm going to get really in depth. Okay. I'm going to talk about the platform as a whole, but I'm also going to go into each component and why it matters to you and how this is going to, again, change your business. We are in this new year. Happy New Year, starting, Q1 off. We have got to get clear. We have got to get our businesses, our finances, our sales. We have to get it under control. And this platform is going to allow you to do that. So let's just dive in. So APX is comprised of 5 core elements, which are train, abacus, lucid, gauge, and finally a community, which are all focused on solution-based training programs, business management, and KPI analytics, all to help you, again, save time, money, be more efficient, and more profitable. Before I get into it, though, I think it's really important to set the stage. Okay, I want to take you back to the why. If you've followed me, you've listened to me, you've heard me teach and lecture, I am such a big proponent of your why. Why do you do anything? Why do you have your job? Why do you want to be a parent? Why do we do anything that we do? And we have to get very clear because your why is what separates you from everyone else. It is your value proposition. Why should people come to you? Why should people not choose somebody else over you? Like, this is your number one thing, and we have to get very clear on the why. So I want to share with you our why and some of what we think is our value proposition. Robbie and I, she is our senior consultant based in Connecticut. And together we have a combined almost, Jesus Lord, I'm going to age ourselves, between 25 to 30 years of experience in aesthetics and working with practices. And we have been able to identify so many problems over the past 2 decades. And candidly, they're all the same, regardless of what stage you're in. And so what are some of those problems? Number one, especially with COVID, you guys, the finances were a huge issue. People were calling us. They were afraid that their doors were being shut for several months. They were laying off team. They have limited patients in the door. They were trying to recoup some of the lost money. And so, some of the questions were, Terri, I don't even know my numbers. My P&L looks a mess. I don't know what to measure. Your lack of knowledge, I get it. I can't do what you guys can do. They were like, what reports do we run? How do we even use our software? And so, even if you knew some of those things, the other question became, what do I even do with this information? I'm too busy. I'm seeing patients. And so, it's really important that we have to get our financial health under control. And when we talk about KPIs, there are so many things that if you knew what to do and how to do it, it could paint this beautiful story for you in terms of helping you run, again, a more efficient and profitable practice. So that's a little bit on the finances of some of the whys that we were listening to all of our clients. Secondly, the sales process. Most people do not have a consistent sales process. And then we have to say, okay, well, what does that even mean, Terri? I get it. You guys are providers, practitioners, or you're working within the practice and not so much on it. But you've heard me say so often, sales, you guys, is the lifeblood of what we do. No matter what you're selling, a widget, a pen, a phone, a car, treatments. And so we have to understand what that sales process is. More importantly, are we tracking? Do we have call tracking? Most don't, you guys. And then even if we do, what are our conversion rates? Do we know what that call to consult is, and then consult to close? And then if we're not closing or meeting those numbers, what do we do with that information? When we look at the consultation process, are we building long-term treatment plans? And why is that important? It's not about, well, that's not what they came in for, or they can't afford it. We're educating. Sales, you guys, is education. And that's really what we're doing. And so understanding, again, why that consultation process and building those treatment plans matter. You're going to get a better patient outcome. You're going to get higher retention in more valued relationships. So let me sum up our big why. Our big why hit me in the face this year, truly, where I, as a single mom, owning a company, paying for team, wondering, what the hell am I going to do? It became so evident that with COVID really caused us to take a pause, right? I talked about that great pause, to take a pause and say, holy shit, we have all this knowledge and all of these resources and all of the skill, from working with several practices over 2 decades, knowing that I had a medical spa in Beverly Hills for 5 years. But more importantly, doing some due diligence to say, how can we help the masses? How can we provide solutions to all of you greater than just one-on-one consulting? So I started to do some research, and I found this to be shocking, but in the 2019 AmSpot report, the statistics were less than 10% of practices actually track their data. I'm going to say it again. Less than 10%. You guys, that is sad. It's really sad. But again, what does that mean? People were frantic. Again, their doors were closing, losing money, lack of patients, paying for equipment, paying for rent. And it really did cause people to call us. Massive phone calls were coming in, and they were saying, Terri, how can you and your team help us? How can we get our finances under control? How can we make up more money? So that's what we did. We took and we wrote down in this strategy session all of the pain points in all of the challenges that were all comprised of what was happening this year. So I want to use this analogy. How do you build a stable home? How do you build a stable house? I mean, you need the architect to give you a blueprint, right? That's going to force the plumber what to do, the electrician, the architect, the builder, it's going to give us what we need to build that foundation. And so that's what Terri Ross Consulting, that is what we've done for you. We have built APX, which will be your building block. That is your blueprint. That is your foundation. And it is comprised of everything that you need to know that is going to be housed in one program that has masterclasses, sales training, finance training, teaching you how to run a business. More importantly, other KPI and web applicators that are going to allow you, once you learn what to do, what data to run, it's going to allow you to take that information and put it into our system. So it's going to spit out a story. It's going to spit out a picture that's going to allow you to make informed decisions and changes that will ultimately and have proven to ultimately impact your bottom line. So never before, I've been in aesthetics since 2007, both on the corporate side as well as consulting, and never before in the aesthetic industry has there been stable ground to launch a platform that is comprised of all of these components. And so, again, I asked you to stay with me. No matter what stage of the business you're in, if you have an idea, if you're thinking about starting a practice, perhaps you've been in business maybe 1 to 3 years, or maybe you've been in business, 10 to 25 years. There is always room to grow, to learn, and to improve your overall efficiencies and profitabilities. We've had so many clients this year grow exponentially, like 585%. And people say, well, how did they do that? It takes a team approach, right? We give you the tools, we give you the resources, but the clients that have done the work, that are committed, have seen this exponential growth. So we want to be able to share and give this back to you. And so the beautiful thing about APEX is that it is designed for every stage of the practice that you're in. So let's get into it. I want to get a little bit more in depth of what is in APEX so that you guys understand the origin and what is available to you within this amazing platform. So I mentioned earlier, APEX stands for Aesthetic Practice Accelerator, and it is broken down into your 5 core components, and I'm going to walk you through each of them. Number 1, train. You guys know I come from hardcore sales training right out of medical school. I worked with J&J in the operating room, and it is my passion. It's my passion to teach, to serve, to educate, to support. I've done this for the past 15 years, working with every aesthetic conference across the country. I'm so proud to have been able to do this at practices in-house, at hotels, during group coaching calls. So what is training comprised of? It's like nothing we've ever done before, or maybe I should say it's everything we've done, but it's all wrapped up into one pretty bow. And our training courses right now are comprised of sales training, which are, come from me working with practices across the country, as well as Robbie, in addition to having the medical spa in Beverly Hills and what those 5 modules are all about. So it is very methodical training program, how to master the art of sales, conversions, consultations. And then finance. This is really taught by, Robbie Grayson, our guru. She is a financial whiz. We developed this beautiful financial foundations course in the midst of COVID, not even knowing that, APEX wasn't even born yet. But we said, how do we develop this financial course that are going to give these practices, again, the introductory foundation to run a business? And so within training, it's going to allow you to have these robust courses. As a practice owner, manager, you are going to be able to hold your team accountable. There's going to be quizzes, exercises, printouts, worksheets, takeaways, you name it, all so that you can track the progress of your team with full visibility and full accountability. Number 2, abacus. Do you love that name, you guys? I don't even think I knew what that name meant, but I love it, right? It actually means like mathematical equations. And mathematical calculations. So I think it's super fancy. But as I mentioned earlier, 10% of practices actually measure their data. So what does that mean? The sky is the limit. And we have had people write us in testimonials that had beta tested and have seen some of these financial optimization calculators. And they have literally said, Terri, for the first time, I've cleaned up my 2019 and 20 books. For the first time, I actually know how to manage my business. I mean, we were over the moon. So, when I heard this statistic again about this 10%, I mean, frankly, I kind of was a little bit shocked that the number was so low. But honestly, it makes sense. There is no MBA. Well, we're called APEX. This is an MBA of aesthetics. And there's nobody out there really teaching you what to do, how to calculate the KPIs, what to measure, where do I track? If I do track some of those things, then what do I do with the information? Who's going to hold me accountable? There's not one uniform place to be able to house or keep all of this data. How do I use my patient management software? Hell, half the time I have to tell you, aside from this being a blueprint, Robbie and I would spend hours and hours with clients because, we say, garbage in, garbage out, and the software wasn't set up the right way in the first place. And so we're going to teach you the 7 service fundamentals, and that information is going to go right into your software. But Abacus is ultimately a financial optimization tool that is made up of 7 integrative active calculators that are going to tell you everything that you need to know about your business. I know it's a mouthful, but when you guys understand how to extract your numbers, what those metrics are, and plug them into a web-based calculator, holy shit, it's like Santa Claus came all over again. Okay. This is comprised of understanding your profit per treatment. What yields the highest return on investment? What is your revenue per hour, per each room, per each provider, and then as a company? How do you forecast? How do you develop goals? If you're a startup, what are the startup costs? How do we measure goals and goal tracking? And then last, but certainly not least, a big thing this year too was compensation workbooks that are based on, again, aligning with those company goals. In addition, motivating for your team. So now under one roof, in real time, we are giving you access and the ability to see what are the gaps in your practice. More importantly, what are the opportunities for financial efficiency? So, okay, I get it. What does this have to do with you, right? Why should you care? How is this going to help you? I totally get it because listen, I've been there. Every decision we make, you guys, has to make an instrumental impact on your business and move the needle. I just talked about those 7 optimization calculators. And so be honest, it's the only way we can make change. Do you know how much your rooms make per hour? Do you know how much your providers make per hour? Are you losing money on them based on how you compensate them? What does your company make as a whole? What is your gross profit? Because guys, listen, if we know that a good aesthetic practice should be around a 20% net profit, you cannot get there if you are not at 50% gross. You can't. So we need to know that. And then when we know that, we're going to say, shit, what do I need to do? I need to stop doing this. I need to do more of this. I need to change my compensation plan. I need to develop these goals and focus on these treatments. I need to reduce my marketing dollars because I'm putting them in the wrong place. So I hope you were able to answer some of those things. And if you've answered yes to any of those things, then Apex is hands down for you. I'm going to ask a couple more questions. What treatments yield the highest return on investment? Do your providers have goals? Are they meeting them? Why or why not? Is your compensation plan compliant? Is it, again, intended to drive behaviors? How about these? If you've answered that you do not know any of these things, then I am so happy, and you are exactly what we're looking for. And this is exactly you right now listening. You are the person we built this for. Abacus is going to be able to answer all of these for you, again, in real-time data. So let's move on. So now that you have all of this great data, you have a new outlook on your business with a deeper understanding of where to spend your money, what changes you need to make. With this newfound information, we have to look at now our marketing dollars. Where are we doing that? This is often one of the biggest areas we find is that people are spending the money in all the wrong places. So if we understand what is our marketing spend compared to total revenue, which by the way should be 10%. If it's higher, we got to look at that. But then we say, okay, where is that money going? Which vertical, which channel? And then of those channels, what is my return on investment? And we heard this too. Most people, they don't know. They just don't know. And so they're putting money in Facebook when really they're getting it from Instagram, or they're not looking at the call tracking. And so this became evident too, where there's so many things that a practice would have to log into. My Facebook, my Instagram, my call tracking, my Yelp, I could go on and on. And what came, again, the light bulb, came out, and we said, how can we develop an application that can tie in up to 50 integrations so that at one glance, you can have a dashboard of how your business is performing in your social spaces? What if you could have that? Hell yeah, for me, I would have loved to have that when I was back at, running my business in Beverly Hills. So you will be able to see how each channel, again, I mentioned up to 50 integrations across all KPIs, your email marketing, your social media, your call tracking. It's incredible. Constant contact. I have to say, this made me so proud. Truly, I had tears in my eyes. We've had one of our key opinion leader physicians beta test this. There's actually a testimonial from him from the practice on our website. So I'll save the name, you guys. I want you to go check it out. But he said that Lucid, okay, that's what this is called. That Lucid, which means transparency, that Lucid alone has saved him $20,000. Just that one thing. Okay, so how can this benefit your practice? Again, we're going to go back to, I don't want you to be part of that 10%. I want you to be part of this 80%, 80, 90% that are running a highly effective business. Having Lucid, having Abacus, this is going to save you so much time, so much effort, where you and your team can focus on what matters most, and that is your patients and giving great results and high customer service. So I'm going to repeat it back. Would you want to save 20 grand? Hell, I would want to save 20 grand. So Lucid really tells you a story. It gives you this beautiful picture, amazing graphs of what's working and what's not working so that you guys can make adjustments in real time without falling behind. Another part of maintaining a successful business is not just understanding the ins and outs of your practice, but it's understanding what happens externally. What are the market trends? What's popular? What's not? Let's face it, aesthetic medicine is like a retail business. And you guys, when we really get down to the nuts and bolts of this, that's what it is. And so because of that, it is imperative that we are aware of what's going on, not just within our practice, but across the region, the state, the nation. Could you imagine if you knew how somebody in another state was performing? If you could have access to data like this? We know that our current practice management software system is amazing, right? It provides quality reporting, but all of that reporting is very specific and respective to your individual practice. It's comparing apples to apples, but it's comparing you to yourself. So I am so excited to announce a collaborative partnership with Ronan Solutions, which is going to give you guys Gauge. That is the fourth element in the APX platform. And just to give you a little background, again, Ronan Solutions provides the statistical data that is used currently by the Aesthetic Society in their yearly report for 2020. You guys, this partnership is fantastic. Terri Ross Consulting, now APX by Terri Ross, and Ronan Solutions have developed a partnership that is going to provide you with benchmarking data that is, within our platform. So now you can have an even better understanding of how others are performing. It's going to allow you to really look at this unique data set that's collected and combined from hundreds of aesthetic practices, but by the way, both surgical and non-surgical. with different specialties. It has nationwide distribution, and it's standardized against all practices. And I want to repeat it because for those of you in medicine, statistical analysis is key, right? It's critical. And this data has statistical analysis, so we know that it's accurate. This type of data also gives you an inside look as to how other like-minded practices are performing across the country. What's the average revenue of different procedures? Whether you're living in California to Chicago, what is the lifetime value of the patient? Those are just a couple of things, by the way. There is an enormous amount of data that, by the way, is updated in real time, either weekly or monthly. So I said it just a few minutes ago. Aesthetic medicine is a retail business, and every retail business utilizes some type of consumer or business metric data so that they can understand, what's happening now, what happened previously, what's ongoing. More importantly, what are potential future trends? So this information found in Gauge is critical to, again, creating an efficient and profitable business. Okay, guys, we are getting now to the fifth element, which I love so much. And I know I've shared so much information and it's been an earful, and I hope you're still with me and that you are finding this like, holy shit, I need this, okay? But the fifth element is really, I call you guys my tribe. It's our community. It's the private group for APX members and only APX members that gives exclusive access to live trainings, webinars, educational events, Q&A, office hours with me and my team, group coaching calls, all within a private community. And why do we do this? Because we are here to help you implement, to help you be accountable, to reinforce this knowledge, and more importantly, execute this plan so that you guys can, again, change your business, change the way you think. This is also a place where you guys can, again, collaborate with each other. This is a community. And that is what we need. We need education. We need a community of people that are here to support each other, and we are here to support you. So this brings us back to, why did we do this? We've done all this research over the past many, many, many months. We've put in countless hours, hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. So with that being said, we truly have built APX with each of its elements to guide you, help you, support you, and allow you to have the tools, the training, and the resources for you guys to flourish in 2021. And in turn, letting you guys get back to what you do well, what you love to do, and that's take care of patients, and allow us to, again, serve and support you and give you the information you need so that you can remember why you began your journey in the aesthetic industry in the first place. So happy freaking New Year to you guys. Thank you so much for being with me, for listening to this episode of In Touch with Terri. I invite all of you to please visit apexplatform.com. Check out our website, check out our testimonials, check out what our clients have to say. If you found this valuable, I would encourage you to please book a demo with our team. So happy New Year. I wish you all the love, all the safety, all the success in 2021. And I can't wait to talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to In Touch with Terri. For more information regarding APX, the aesthetic game changer, visit apexplatform.com. That's apexplatform.com. We'll include links to everything in the episode notes, including links to all of the ways that you can follow Terri Ross Consulting on all social media platforms. Please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast from whichever platform you might be listening from. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to you joining us on the next episode of In Touch with Terri.